Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Good to see you all. As you can see, we've made some changes in here. Where are the synths?
Where have all the synths gone?
Oh.
We've decided to become a folk band.
Where are the guitars?
A folk band that Hambone.
Hambone. E from Hambone.
Ethan and Hambone.
Oh, I'd love to be able to do that.
Great. I think that should make a comeback.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
What do you think? Good idea?
We're not really going to reduce our instruments to our limbs. We've decided to have a bit of a clear out. We've been quite busy this month. This has just happened today, so there's more changes afoot. We decided to kind of have a rearrange because, well, the studio can get a bit kind of samey after a while, and when you're feeling kind of new creative vibes, you need to change things up a bit.
Yeah.
And we definitely need to do that. It's been a long time.
It's fair to say that we've not exactly hit a wall, but we've realised that there needs to be some fundamental changes. We're not going to go on about that in this show.
No, we'll talk about it in the next show.
Interesting though it might be.
Once it's all kind of in, and this room will look different again next episode. But for now, I'll tell you about what we did do this month. We shot and filmed a video.
Yep. We finished a single. And now it's just the process. As always, as soon as we finish something, we want to put it out and give it to you guys straight away, but we can't because PR. And PR is kind of this laborious process we have to do for everything we release so that people see it, because otherwise it's just like a raindrop in a pond and it disappears. Yeah, it's a very worthwhile lesson to learn about what you do. It's a really hard job. And
it's a big job, yeah.
It can be a little bit demoralizing at times, but hey, I think we're going to be sharing the whole grueling process that we went through, or rather you mostly went through. I personally can't touch the stuff because I can't visit blogs, and
it doesn't kind of it really is anathema to the process of making music. It's very difficult, but when you're a DIY band you have to do it. So I'll give you guys some tips on how to approach that next month, and of course next month's episode we're going to premiere the new video, so you guys will get to see it first.
Yes.
And then it will be uploaded. Our Ampled fans may even get the single to download before everybody else.
If you're on Ampled, you can have it for free.
Yeah, we're going to put it up.
You already paid.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Any comments there? What's going on?
Oh, I should have a little look.
So, yeah, we were very lucky, while Bree's having a look at that, to be at the Roland store opening on Denmark Street. And it was very, very swish and very nice. And I got to play on the Juno X.
That was exciting.
It was exciting. It's creepy how much like a 106 it looks from the other side of the room. It's, whoa, this is spooky. And it's also, well, it's an interesting experience playing it because it's not a 106. But a lot of people love it. A lot of people maybe less than love it. I think I might fit into the latter camp.
You have a very special relationship with the Juno, though.
I did. I mean, I do. I mean, I wish I still had. I sold my Juno 6. Here's the whole terrible story. Do you want to hear it? Yeah.
I think you should.
So,
yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to walk home from school past two music shops, lucky boy, down Leytonstone High Road. So we had Freeman's Music and Holiday Music, which was a slightly better shop, much smaller, much cooler. But I always used to stop off at Freeman's because they had a Juno 60 in the window, and I would literally stand there putting endless arpeggios in, and I'd be late for dinner and get into all kinds of trouble. So I really loved this synth. When I finally bought a Juno 6 when I was in a band, which I'll talk to you about later in Synth of the Month, actually. But I was helped by Kirk Brandon. I used to sort of be friends with him. He got me into GAC in Brighton when it was a tiny little shop. It's not the massive multinational conglomerate it is now. It was just a little guitar shop, and they had a Juno 6 for sale. And he went, "You want this, do you?" And I went, "Yeah, I do." And he went, "How much you gonna give? How much do you want for that?" He basically got money off for me.
Yeah, so special powers.
Yes,
compelling powers.
Compelling powers.
It's that smile.
Yeah, absolutely. So I bought the Juno, joined a couple of bands, played it non-stop, made a cloth bag and carried it to gigs over my shoulder.
That must have weighed a ton.
Juno on one, SH1 on the other. So suffice to say, I know this synth quite well, I have what you could say an unhealthy relationship with the Juno, which many of you probably do as well. So when I played the Juno X, I can only say that the major emotion I got from playing it was not one of nostalgia or remembering or, it wasn't back again. What it actually did, it made me miss the Juno more. It made me aware of its absence. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying it's not a good synth. It's an amazing synth. It's quite an expensive synth as well.
But it's got a few different synth models
it's got loads of synth models in it. It's got a piano in it. But, and it's got a drum machine. It's got a 4-part arranger. Yeah. Who's it for? Who's it actually for? I mean, I was thinking possibly an 80s tinged cruise ship performer might love it. Or, someone that really needs something that looks the part and won't break. Maybe.
Reliable.
So let's be nice about that. So, yeah. Anyway, we got to go there, and it was thanks to our friends at Sonic State. They let us in the door, and Roland gave me a beer, which I promptly spilled all over a chair, which a guy called Gerald shortly was sitting in. So I made a terrible, terrible mistake.
That's all right.
But that's life, I guess.
It up.
We cleaned it up, yeah. And, I was also on Sonic Talk. It was very nice to be on there. I'm woefully under knowledgeable. Yeah, you're going to say.
I think everybody feels like that.
I don't think they do. But that was great fun.
Yeah. We got a few questions from the chat, a few things. Wagyu said he hates the Juno X and the Jupiter X for the same reason.
Good man, Wagyu. Well done for saying exactly what we're all thinking.
Now your colours to the mast there. Good for you.
It's this whole thing about putting the Zen Core engine in all these little different, what is it? Someone described it, sweetie wrappers. Different wrappers around the same engine with certain bits disabled on different ones to give you the feeling that you're using something else, but you're not. It's the same thing. And in fact, is it in software as well? I don't actually know. It probably is. Someone will say.
I really like that description. What was that guy on YouTube who did?
Yeah. Digging up your granny.
You should share it. I think it's a good description.
It is a good description. I mean, it looks like your granny. It sounds a bit like your granny, but when you get really close to it and look in the eye, there's something wrong with the eyes. There's something wrong with the eyes.
Basically described it as being in the room with a sort of reanimated corpse of your beloved grandmother.
Which is a pretty harsh review of a synth.
It's quite harsh.
I mean, it really is.
But it is when something's not quite there, you're kind of in uncanny valley, and it just makes that lack of the fact that it's not the real thing all the more apparent, doesn't it? It's like just sticks out. It's like the Polar Express.
So when you go to something that looks like that and is purporting to sound like that, you expect to be going, "Oh, it's back," but actually, I got the feeling of it's not here. Where is it? And the sad end of my Juno story. Oh dear, this is awful. Absolutely broke. Beginning of 2003. I was moving to London. I had no space for anything. I had to get rid of everything quickly. I sold my Juno 6 for, guess how much? £100.
Oh,
and do you know what?
More than 10 times that now.
Well, yeah. And the guy that came round and bought it for £100 had the absolute cheek to go, "Does it work?" and checked everything in front of me, making sure it all worked first. I was going, "Come on, mate, this is like..."
That's so cruel.
Anyway, so I have an emotional connection to it. I miss it. It's not back. That's my opinion. And was it Wagyu that said he
doesn't
hates them? Hates a strong word.
Yeah.
Wagyu. But,
Well, Inky said that maybe the MC707 could be the best of the new things. It has the best features, the most features.
It's the Zen Core engine again, isn't it? It's basically, you could probably use that for exactly the same thing. It's smaller. And is it less expensive than the Juno X is going to be?
I
can't remember.
So.
It's totally unprepared, this part, by the way.
This is my winging it.
I didn't even know I was going to say this. I would have looked up all the prices. Maybe you can, just click away and find out. But good call, Inky. The MC707. That does look good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Kirk and the Synth of Destiny was a comment. I like that.
Yeah.
That should be a film.
I do miss Kirk. It's really good to see he's back playing again.
Yeah.
He's great live. Really, really good.
Fantastic.
And the man has powers.
James has said confession is good for the soul. Well, this isn't the first confession that we'll have on this show.
What does that mean?
Well, because you weren't sure about confessing about your true feelings for the new Juno.
Whenever anyone
XA.
says confession is good for the soul, I break out in a very cold sweat. What's going on?
But you do confess something later on in Synth of the Month. And we've got stuff to talk
Foreshadowing.
about before that anyway. Today we're going to do song stories for you that was requested by Wagyu, Scuzzer and Steve Williams. All three of you guys asked about Radiation, the song. But we're going to talk about the process of the album as well, because it kind of went hand in hand, and we've got a lot of cool pictures to show you. So
Right.
take it away.
And I don't really
Chris.
know what I'm doing, so bear with me.
No, I'm going to walk you through it. It's all right.
So, song stories.
Song stories.
Stories.
Okay, so this is the cover art for Radiation, the original cover art, which one lucky fan won who broke the code for the snare code breaking competition.
Did any of you see that? The artwork for snare has an insanely difficult piece of cryptic code all over it, with no clues about how to solve it. It's basically proper spy stuff, proper spy shit. And
I actually made a mistake in writing the code, which the code breaker noticed and still managed to figure it out.
Now we can
in spite of my mistake.
We can say who this code breaker was without saying their name. Can we?
He did ask to remain anonymous.
We don't have to say the person's name.
Or she. I don't even know.
But we can say what their job was, can't we? Because we
don't know specifically what their job was, but
nobody probably
did say they had experience in code breaking.
Yeah, I mean, basically they were in signals
That's enough.
intelligence.
That's
I
enough.
think.
Do you want them knocking on our doors?
The door's closed.
Oh,
we're
God.
safe. But that was pretty cool.
Anyway, that's a total aside from Radiation. Let's talk about Radiation itself.
All that person got was this piece of artwork.
I think we sent them some other stuff as well. But yeah, I'm going to talk a little bit about the inspiration for Radiation before we go into what made it, because at the start of making an album, lots of stuff's floating around in our head and we don't really know what's going to come out in the album. But thinking back, these things were in the album. So
okay, go for it.
If you hit play, Chris, we'll see a bit of footage. So a friend had given us a CD of Fête de Belzo by Olivier Messiaen. And this is a piece of music that he was commissioned to compose to accompany a light and water show on the Seine during the Paris Exposition in 1937. And he chose to use the En Martineau for this task. Pretty amazing. It's beautiful music. The exposition happened at a time when broadcasting meant power and technical innovations made anything possible. So it was pretty, helter-skelter. But it was also a time under threat of imminent war. The exposition, as you can see, placed the Soviet and the German pavilions directly across from each other, challenging each other, and they were in such fierce competition that they were the only two monuments to be completed in time for the opening. And just imagine being there in 1937, staring up at these gargantuan extensions of state, challenging each other on the Seine, while a light and water show soundtrack by an En Martineau plays before you.
Yeah.
That was that blew my mind, getting that CD and then finding out about where this piece of music came from. And the footage that we showed you there's actually footage on archive.org in the Prelinger archives of the whole exposition. And I love expositions. What happened to the expositions? I think they still have them. The last one I know of was Milan in 2012 or something. But what a wonderful thing. It's like everybody coming together from around the world. Instead of celebrating sport like in the Olympics, we celebrate the great achievements in culture of humanity and science, technology and art. That's amazing.
Not wishing to be dark or anything, but mostly these things are basically saber rattling,
Well, yeah.
exercises in saber rattling.
Very
and
much.
State power.
Yeah, which is quite you can just that picture of the Eiffel Tower with those two giants opposite each other. And of course, this whole thing about broadcasting being such a form of power which was used for power for propaganda during the war as well, was a thing that was in our heads. This photo is when we went to Hamburg to play, which was fantastic. First time we played in Germany. And this is around when we were starting to think about songs for the album.
Yeah, that room was haunted.
That room was haunted. We had a very strange experience there. Do you want to? Should we tell them about our haunted Airbnb?
Well, yeah, very quickly. So we did have a small party after our show, and we had Tobias and
we had a few supporters from Bremen.
Yeah,
fantastic
friends
bunch
from
of
Bremen.
People.
They all came over. We had a very nice party. It was great, and then I think they all drove back later that night. So I have no idea who drove.
I think Tobias might have driven. But anyway.
So the next night, there was a ghost in the house. There was rattling cutlery. There were shadows everywhere, and I suddenly became aware that there was a very old German lady who was very annoyed that we'd messed her apartment up. So we cleaned up, and the haunting stopped. Anyway, whether you believe in that rubbish or not. It was
a very strange experience. I've never had anything like that happen to me before. The flat had a very strange layout in that there was a door between every room in a circle, and a very thick wall at the end of the bed on which we could see light and shadows. And then we heard these clinking of the glasses in the kitchen. I thought there was a burglar. I was like, someone has broken in. And you got up immediately. Then we saw a shadow pass. I was like, oh my God, there's someone in the house. But you got up very courageously and marched into the kitchen.
Ran to the kitchen.
I marched in right behind you, and I heard this and what you saw.
Yeah, the second drawer down was shaking. I think we just annoyed someone by messing their flat up, and they were going to clean it up. Yeah. And they didn't quite have the motive power yet.
Yeah. They were trying to wash the shot glasses and put things away.
It wasn't a full form apparition at that stage, and they couldn't do it. So we cleaned up for them, and then it all got better.
It's very strange. When we went into that room, though, the air felt electric. You know, when everything's like fizzing.
German beer does that, though. So.
Oh yeah. Well, no, we hadn't drunk that night. But yeah, anyway. Oh. Another thing we were listening to at this time was an amazing radio documentary about interviewing people who had been involved in the MK Ultra program in America and recovered. A lot of people who were involved in this had their memories erased.
Not a conspiracy theory.
Not a conspiracy theory. It's completely admitted by the US government. They were compensated, a lot of them. They took the government to court over what had happened to them because they'd been taken when they were children, and basically put into super soldier programs and trained in all sorts of strange things. Stories like, having their bones broken so that they would heal stronger and all sorts of mad stuff.
Can I hit play yet?
Yeah, you can hit play. Lots of inspiration anyway was going into the album. We saw this piece of artwork in airport. Hamburg, yeah.
We took a photo of it, and as you can see, we totally ripped it off, but we were really inspired by that. Now, a lot of people have asked, what's the whole radiation? What does it mean? Is it about radioactivity? Is it this? Are you being Kraftwerk? Are you doing that? Of course, we're not being Kraftwerk. We can't do that. But it's actually about sending your thoughts out and radiating. The BBC had a lovely phrase. Before they said broadcasting all the time, they used to say, we will be radiating on 46.7 megahertz or whatever. This seemed like a lovely verb to me.
Yes.
To radiate and to transmit things. So the idea of radiation is actually not so much to talk about radiation, but actually to talk about broadcasting, sending your stuff out into the universe. And that's what happened there.
So that was an initial bombshell image for us that was a really big seed for creating ideas. You can hit play. So originally we were going to use it for tin can telephones. So I did a bunch of different ideas based around this woman with the mast, in this case incorporating the tin can telephone. But we ended up going in a different direction with that, as you know, completely different limited edition artwork. Mm-hmm. And then so we decided to start using it for radiation, and I tried all sorts of different configurations, and I thought, nope, that German guy who did the originals hit the nail on the head. There was even an idea at one point to do 100 different radiating patterns, have completely unique covers for every one, but abandoned that as well. That was preposterous. Lots of different radio towers there. Oh, and then we started involving the Xena cards, because we were thinking about ESP, which is another form of broadcasting. Again, this kind of came from the MK Ultra thing.
You all know what Xena cards are, right? Are those cards that they use when trying to do ESP experiments?
Start of Ghostbusters.
Yes, the start of Ghostbusters, exactly. So we were into that kind of thing.
And we created our own symbols. Some of them are actual Xena card symbols, but we created some of our own. They're just some notes from recording, the main thing, pause it. The main thing about the notes on the recording there is that we were listening to the album and formulating the imagery at the same time.
Yeah, as usual, the usual trick.
As usual, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And then the final package. So for the final design, Chris created a custom box which contained the 12-page booklet full color poster of the cover art and an inner sleeve holding the CD.
Okay.
Anyway.
Cool. There we go. We all know that.
Well,
do you want to talk about the song? So I'd like to say something deep and meaningful about the title track, Radiation, but actually I'm pretty sure we watched They Live on the beach, and I'm pretty sure it was just watching They Live. Let's be frank. And that was the idea. And the idea of getting up the tower, the transmission tower, and, taking control, seizing control of the broadcasting power that is.
Yeah.
Whatever. Bees. That's kind of what it was about. Which leads us on to the video, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we had my first idea for the video was I was going to animate an epic story of this woman going against the crowd and against the people who were all believing the lies that had been radiating, and she was going to go up and literally climb the tower and take it down. I think we'd watched Metropolis again around the same time, and when she's kind of demolishing those structures, it's a big inspiration. Maria in Metropolis.
Are you saying we're shamelessly ripping off Fritz Lang and the greats and everything?
Yeah. I mean, kind of. We're inspired by, I think. And it was all going to be very sort of German expressionist and black and white. And I even started animating it. So if you hit play, Chris, you'll see.
So there's no sound on this, but you can get a glimpse of what the animation was going. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, so basically I started animating it and was doing it at very low frame rate because I'm only one person and it's a lot of frames to animate for a full length song. And then I kind of realized I don't have time to do this around, work and everything. It just wasn't possible to do a 4-minute animation.
This may be a theme that recurs.
Yeah, but I was surprised looking back how far I actually got with it. So I'll share this for the Ampled fans on the Ampled page, so you can see how far we got. And then we went in a completely different
with the music,
direction.
So you might have seen this already. So here it.
This is just a few different clips. We basically multiplied ourselves.
There's
the actual footage of us against the green screen.
Pretending to play.
And we have these radiating patterns, one of which was made using like an app on Chris's phone, which we captured the video from.
Now, this is really, I really like, if I can just say, I love what you did.
Pause it.
That solarized effect and the throbbing sort of thing there.
Yeah, we were thinking, we wanted it to look like a solarized photo, basically.
Zap. Yeah.
And then, just
are
playing
those 3D animated rings you've done in the background?
Yes, they are.
Well done.
And then using these kind of radiation wavelength patterns and things like that.
Nobody wants to see the
Sorry,
desktop.
I didn't put a tail on it.
Oh, well, never mind. That's all right.
Yeah, I will share the original video that we did on Ampled. There are only a few copies of the original album of Radiation left, which are completely handmade.
We say that every month, don't we?
Well, yeah, we'll stop saying it now because we've talked about Radiation. They're nearly gone.
Yeah.
But once they're gone, that'll be it. But with that, when you buy it, you will get there's a PDF making of Radiation, which has a lot of the images that we've just shared with you on this, and
if you don't buy
behind-the-scenes photos.
We are going to put that up on Ampled as well.
It'll be on Ampled too.
Right.
So,
by the way, on Ampled we've got 2 more stems of the month coming out, and one of them's from Radiation, the album, and one of them's from Snare, the album. So have some fun with that. Another thing I want to say is I can't remember who did it. Someone did a lovely remix, a reworking of one of the songs, and then posted it to Ampled. And then, if you want, we'd love it if you did that. If you find yourself having fun with it, do your own lyrics, mess it around. If you want to, take it, play with it, do what you like, and we'd love to hear it. Put it on the Ampled page so we can all have a look and a listen. It'd be lovely if you did that. So so that's Radiation talked about. Actually, at the end of today's show, we're going to be performing a track from Radiation, and it's a track that we've never performed live. We did attempt to perform it live, but it didn't really work.
No, basically we
couldn't hear.
Yeah, we did a little gig in a wonderful bar in Bremen called First Class Suicide with the best cocktails I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of a portable PA and we just couldn't quite hear it from the back of the room, so I couldn't quite pitch right. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when you're a band, when you're singing on stage, if you can't hear yourself, it's very hard to find your pitch.
Yeah.
We curtailed it.
Those cocktails were great, though, and that
They
was
were
possibly the
amazing.
best rider ever. Just amazing. Like, I can't remember how many they gave us, but they just kept giving us these
They're
amazing.
proper artists as well. Like, they
Yeah.
were cocktails you've never heard of, just their own creations.
We've certainly got a boozy element, haven't we, this band?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I posted the margarita recipe this month.
I hope that's...
I think that's most of our cocktail recipes done now.
BOOcast is for adults only.
Please drink responsibly.
Yeah, please drink responsibly. So, yes, at Sampler Discussion Q&A.
Yes, I mean, I should also say there are over 10 of you supporting us now on Ampled, which is amazing. That makes us artist owners of Ampled.
Thank you very much.
Which is a cooperative. So we now have like voting rights. We could profit share, although at the end of the year, they basically choose what to do with their surplus profit to reinvest it or whatever. But we have a say in all of that, which is incredible.
And that's
so
all
thank
thanks to you. So thanks for supporting us, those of you who have them.
And thanks basically for supporting this business, which is like, working in the interest of artists.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Also, it might seem quite strange because all the big companies, we all know them. They become so well known that you get that brand connection. You know, you feel safe with them, even though it's the last thing you should really do. When a new one comes along, it's sometimes maybe I can imagine some people might be a bit hesitant.
Yes, uncomfortable.
So if you have joined already, well done. You've proved yourself.
You're
a
in the
strong
vanguard,
fighting for digital freedom and democracy and all that.
All the good things.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of democracy.
Yes.
We have an announcement to make.
As you know, it's 10 years of Boo this year, and we've been trying to think of a nice way to celebrate what we can do.
I should just say that the one thing we really wanted to do is release another album this year, but it's looking like, sadly, we're not going to be able to pull anything out of the bag before the end of the year. So we're really disappointed, actually, because that was right up there on my list of things I wanted to do, but something happened.
Well, if any of you know the wonderful Finlay Shakespeare or Future Sound Systems, he's a musician and synth designer, modular synth designer.
He's a fantastic musician as well. Go and check him out live.
Yeah, he's so cool. Riveting, actually riveting performance. There's so much energy going into it, and his modular setup is so flexible, and he builds fantastic songs out of brilliant sounds.
Oh, why are you watching this?
Anyway,
just click away. Go. He's got some shows on YouTube. Go and check him out.
Big fans of his anyway, and he reached out to us, and he's got a new record label called Go2 Records, which I'll pop the link for in the chat.
Oh, you're doing that now?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I could even find it and show you. No, I can't.
I've put the link in the chat anyway, and he asked us if we would like to release a compilation album on his label,
which is fantastic. So he's going to do that. We're going to be compiling the album of the best tracks. So obviously there's, the singles are going to be on there, but
we don't want it to just be a greatest hits. That's the thing.
And obviously we've got some tracks in our hearts that we think people should have heard that a bit more, because they just disappear at the end of an album.
Ones that don't have videos.
Stuff like that. So here's the thing. We want to ask you to tell us, if you had the choice of track listing on a compilation album of ours, what's your favourite track? Do you have a song that you really love? And especially if it's not one of the obvious ones, if it's one of the ones that maybe might have disappeared.
Maybe we could get people to suggest, your obvious choice, but also your lesser known choice. And we're going to record all of your responses. So we'll run polls on our social media and stuff, but feel free to just comment on our Ampled or just poke us and say, I want this one. But we'll tally everything. We'll add everything together and weigh it into the mix with what we want to put out as well. And make a compilation, best of Boo, I guess.
Yeah, and even if it's a track we both
call it.
Utterly loathe, if enough of you like it, we'll put it in.
I really like that Adult were talking about when they play live, and there was, I think it was Hand to Phone, I'm not sure, but there's one that
they always have to play it.
Nicola doesn't like.
Yeah.
But he really likes, but she does it anyway.
It's like Depeche Mode and People Are People.
Is it? Do they not like that one?
No, I don't ever want to play that again.
They still do, though, don't they? Or do they?
I don't know, actually. I'm sure maybe they do. I don't know. Anyway, so thank you. So that's our news.
Yeah, your input. It's
so
very
we
exciting.
all know democracy doesn't work. So that's why we're asking for your votes for which track to go. Hey, we got a new Prime Minister. Whoa, let's have a party.
Yeah. Wagyu said he likes the ZX Spectrum basic font on the top of GoTo Records. GoTo is, of course, a piece of
basic software,
basic code.
Programming language. Yeah.
GoTo 10.
Yeah, I think Finley offered to give us the Spectrum
the very font. Yes.
Very exciting.
Can't ask for more, can you?
No, absolutely not.
Cool. So maybe
stepped over the new Prime Minister news.
Oh yeah, well.
Quite right too. She's a knitted scarf.
Quoting Peter Capaldi. What's he?
Peter Capaldi. Oh, I've forgotten his name.
His name in the thick of it.
The thick of it. You know the guy.
Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
Confession time. I want your confession.
Okay, so synth of the month. The BOOcast synth of the month is the Bass Station II. Released in 1993, the original Bass Station was an analog monosynth whose guts were designed by the great Chris Huggett, and its VCA and filter were lifted directly from his legendary synth, the Wasp. Sometime in the mid-90s, I was playing a Juno 6 and an SH1 in a band. That's me. Between songs, the lead singer had to tell jokes to the audience while I set the sounds for the next song with the rest of the band glaring at me. When I saw a bass station second-hand, I exclaimed, "It's got presets! That'll save some time on stage!" So I bought it, and I used it at home, triggered by a 626 drum machine. It was a lot easier to program than my 202, but I didn't really connect with it. It didn't sound like the SH1, and I wasn't interested in acid squelches, and I thought the square sounded funny, so I sold it, and I left the band. When the Bass Station 2 came out in 2013, I again cried, "Great! It's got memories! We can use it live!" And so begins my terrible confession to Novation. So you'll have all seen this, or you have it, or you've seen all the other videos, or something like that. So I'm going to be really quick here. So it's got two oscillators, which has sine. Can that possibly be? Oh. And there's the first problem. So just sine, coarse tuning, plus and minus an octave, fine tuning, modulation, envelope depth. Whoa. Whoa. Yep, LFO1 depth. And pulse width modulation depth via LFO2. Okay, so the two oscillators are accessed via the same 5 knobs and 4 switches, and you choose between oscillator 1 and 2 with this, and you continually, promise you, edit the wrong oscillator. But hey, that's great. They've so spaced. That's nice. There's also a sub oscillator, -1 or -2 octaves with a sine, a pulse, or a square. Oscillator 2 is the same. Let's just go to that. So you switch it over. And in the mixer, we choose between oscillator 1 and 2, and the sub, we also have external in via this switch and this knob, ring modulation between the two oscillators with this switch and this knob, and noise in there. So again, a multitasking knob here. And then we've got a filter. We've got two different models. So we've got the classic filter, which I believe is based on the original Bass Station, which therefore, in theory, is based on the original Wasp. We got choice of slopes. We can go from 12 dB to 24 dB. And you get a low pass, which you've just heard, band pass. And the modulation envelope depth. And LFO2 depth. We've also got an overdrive into the filter knob here. We can turn up the amount of drive into the filter. Sorry, high pass. There's also an acid model of filter, which actually, let's go to a single saw. Check they're all off. Yep, you see there was some ring mods there. You don't notice you've turned it on until you flick the switch. Okay, well, so with the drive, it slightly kills the resonance. Yeah, so you can see what the acid filter is trying to sound like. I kind of prefer the classic. Very rarely use it because there's no real resonance. Well, there is. Actually, it's nice, isn't it? Very different to the first filter, though, and the good thing is that they're different. They sound different. Okay, the envelopes. So we've got two envelopes, but they're, again, controlled by one set of envelope sliders, attack, decay, sustain, release. You've got the amp envelope. Behaves as it should. The mod envelope, which is accessed via the mod envelope depth. We can control the filter with it, for example. We've got an effects section over here, which has distortion. Really does beef it up quite a lot. There you go. And also oscillator filter mod, which takes the frequency of oscillator 2, or the waveform and the frequency of oscillator 2, and modulates the filter with it. To delightful Kraftwerkian effect. That's enough. Portamento or glide. LFOs. We've got two LFOs. LFO1 is linked to the pitch of the oscillators, and it can be triggered by key sync here. So every time you hit a key, it starts the cycle of the LFO. You can also, well, you can control the speed. Again, another switch, two knobs, four functions. So LFO1 depth goes positive and negative. Both the LFOs have the same waveforms and the same features, so we can have a speed control and a delay control, which adjusts the time it takes for it to come in. In fact, let's do that on the... Just fades in the effect of the LFO. Okay, and LFO2 can control the pulse width of the square wave, and it can also control the modulation of the filter. There we go. I'm still on delay, so flick it back to speed. There you go. Okay, I hope this is showing you that actually, even though I've had this synth for 10 years nearly, this is, I still get mixed up with these switches, so you forget what you're doing. It's not a big problem, but sometimes it's like, what have I done? Oh, that's what I've done. That kind of thing happens all the time, but it's great because it's so small. I guess if they didn't have these switches, you'd have 2 of those, you'd have 2 more of those, you'd have 2 of those. Hey, you'd get a bigger keyboard as well, wouldn't you? Oh, well, never mind. Okay, it also has an arpeggiator, so let's turn it on. That's that. So the arpeggio has 32 inbuilt patterns, which is a bit sort of reminiscent of the patternator on the fuse box, so all the way there. So that kind of halves the tempo at 1, and then I think it slowly adds. No, they're shorter. So it's got these little variations on what you put in, and gradually getting faster up to 32. Yeah, it also has a sequencer. There are 4 slots for sequences. The slots will be attached to your presets, but there are only 4 of them. There's a problem, you see. So if they had a sequence per preset, then you wouldn't run into this problem. So often I'll have a sequence running on one preset, and then I'll make another sound, need another sequence, forget which one of these slots I'm in, overwrite it, and then you go back and realize, I've just wiped the previous one because I forgot. So bit of a limitation, these 4, but hey, it's there, which is great. And at the time, as I said, wow, I was so excited. It's got presets, like, yay. So yeah, it's got all of that. And as well as all that, it's got these tiny little bits of writing here, which you can see, and you probably know. These can be accessed via the function key. So you can filter frequency on the mod wheel, adjusting what the aftertouch is doing. It does have an aftertouch keyboard, and it's quite good. Adjusting the key sync on or off of the LFO1, the slew of the LFO1 or 2. So it's great. You can apply slew to the LFOs. So for example, if you have a triangle wave, it can smooth off the edges of it in sort of ARP style. And then there's the square wave, which also you can round off the edges of that. So that's a nice feature. Oscillator 1 and 2 sync, so we can sync these oscillators. So let's just do that. So yeah, we got velocity to the modulation envelope depth, which is great. Modulation to the amp envelope depth, which is great. So it works with this, got velocity. A limiter on the VCA, never used it. Swing on the arpeggio, never used it. Sequence retrigger, like to disable it because it shortens the sequence for some reason. MIDI channel, local tune, input gain, and dump. There you go. So on the face of it, it's a brilliant synth. And yes, it fit the bill. It was exactly what we needed. And snapped it up. And it's been at every single show. So there's nothing wrong with it, is there? So it's already a great synth and does a lot of things that a lot of the other synths do. And use it, in fact, live to basically impersonate the Dominion. OS filter mod, very Dominion-y, and the retriggering of the envelopes, etc. Then they came out with various updates. And so the first update was this one. And this is where the manual comes out because you forget, don't you? So for adjustable filter tracking, manual's telling me, press and hold the function key. So you press and hold the function key and press the filter frequency key twice. So by default, the keyboard is tracked to the filter cutoff. Useful, because you can play the filter. You can adjust this by going up to maximum of 7, which is no tracking. So you can adjust the amount of tracking. That's useful. The most amazing thing, really, is paraphonic mode. In fact, I'm going to cut between... that was the first update. This is the second update. I'm going to go between both of them. So let's put it into paraphonic mode. So here we've got... It's a mono synth, right? Okay, so you press the function key and press oscillator 1, 2, sync twice. Turn it on. And you've got a paraphonic. Sorry, Mark Doty. I hope that's right. Obviously, in addition, we've got ring mods. So let's turn the ring modulator up and turn those down. We've got those slightly ARP Odyssey type sounds. Staying in this mode, we've also got oscillator error, which can be added, and we do that by pressing function and pressing oscillator pitch bend range twice. So we can turn the error from clean, slightly wonky, getting more and more wonky until that broken synth type things. So around here. Each time you hit the key, there's a separate random tuning for both of the oscillators, giving it that slightly, you know, vintagey type of feel. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of micro tuning support as well, which it was a bunch of preset micro tunings. I think there's 8 of them. Wendy Carlos's super 12-note per octave just intonation scale. Yeah. They give a very particular flavour, don't they? I know a certain fellow that we're about to come on to in a second uses lots of interesting tunings. Anyway, so another update in the first update is envelope retriggering. So we can retrigger the mod envelope and the amp envelope independently. We press function, amp envelope twice, retrigger, on. And it re-triggers once the decay portion is gone. I'll do it for the mod envelope as well, so... You can get interesting little rhythmic things. No sequencer, no LFO is being used, it's just the envelopes re-triggering. So this is one of the things I do on the Dominion. Because of its re-triggering LFOs, but here we're not even using LFOs, we're using re-triggered envelopes. None of my synths have envelope re-trigger on them. This is the only one after this update. Oh, that's a lie. The Micro Freak has it. They've got 2 independently here. Doctor Who. Going back to an init patch here for the next thing, which is glide divergence. To activate glide divergence, we press and hold function and press the input gain key twice. What this does is it splits the 2 oscillators into 2 different speeds. It puts a distance between them, and the number is the amount of distance. So with glide time down to 0, you can just hear that slight difference there. As one of the oscillators sort of catches up to the frequency. So that reminds me of the Tysco, because the two oscillators being in duophonic mode, one of them's always a little bit late catching up because of the two rails inside. But yeah, so if we put it up to there, and then we'll bring up the glide time. I think that sounds great. It's got a real... Anyway, I don't think I've got another synth that does glide divergence like that between the two oscillators. Possibly the most interesting thing is the AFX mode. Now, even in the very first review I saw of the Bass Station II, which was with Nick Batt on Sonic State, he commented on how quickly this thing changes its presets. So, I mean, it's instantaneous. And I believe people have been using Electron stuff to re-trigger it and send program changes to create effects where you've got different sounds happening all the time. And there is some question about who actually invented this or discovered this or suggested this. Let's not get into any of that. But yeah, so AFX mode, as it was called after Mr. Rich James, is actually quite unique. I think there may be one other synth on the market that does something like this, but only one. So what AFX mode gives you is a thing called an overlay. So in the central 2 octaves of the keyboard, each of these keys has a separate sound. And it's, that's pretty amazing, right? And then when you put a sequence in, now, while you're doing this, you can also adjust the knobs on the front of the synth. And it sort of sticks. As the sequence triggers a key, if it notices you turning something as it's being triggered, it sticks to that. So it's not quite parameter locked or anything like that, but it's quite interesting. So as well as all that, so with the poly mode, there's something else you can do. I'll just get it to an initialized hash again. So we've got oscillator 1, oscillator 2, sub-oscillator. The sub-oscillator is tied to oscillator 1, right? No. You press function and turn the coarse tuning, you can disconnect the sub-oscillator from oscillator 1. So you've got 3 independently tunable oscillators here. And get some quite nice sounds on it. So I asked the question, can your analog monosynth do any of that? Can it do some of that? I bet it can't do all of that. It does so much. And, our live setup, the Bass Station II is the only analog thing we really have on stage, apart from the CS1. So it has to do a lot of heavy lifting. I hardly ever use the updates. I just use it as a monster bass machine. So this is the substance of my confession. Am I treating this thing like a workhorse rather than a racehorse? It's got so many things in it that so many of my other synths don't have, and yet I tend to use it just to fake the Moog bass sounds, the ARP sounds, the Dominion noises, and No, it does it really well. And when it's going through a PA, it sounds huge. I mean, it's massively huge sounding, properly treated through a PA. You can really shake the room with it. And that's what I love it for. But I secretly think that the reason I'm really using it is because it's low price and it's light. It weighs nothing and it's very small and it's easy to carry around. And that's a little bit of a, cheap reason to use something, isn't it? I'm not using it for any of its good things. I hardly ever use the updates. So if I took the Dominion to a gig, for example, and it went missing for whatever reason, I wouldn't be able to replace it right now. They've just vanished off the face of the earth. If I lost this, I could replace it the very next day. So my really deep question is, am I taking this little synth for granted? Am I really, really not treating it with the love and respect it deserves? Because it's plastic, and because it's basically a base station, just like my first one. Oh dear. Forgive me, Novation. I have sinned. Whoa. Yeah, that was bound to happen. So there
we
go.
are back. We turned off the camera to save the battery. I forgot to turn it on again.
Any second now. But yeah, thank you for watching that. Apologies, I did say I was going to be short about it, but I ended up not being short about it at all.
Well, it's a powerful synth. There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
I think you summarised it really well. So well, in fact, that Andrew Kopachewski's just gone and bought one.
Oh, well.
First the Op6, now this.
If anyone's looking for a salesperson...
Well, yeah. Novation, what a brilliant company. I mean, we've got some comments. Wagyu says they should have a gold medal for firmware development. And Technomatic said they should have an award for support. They really are brilliant as a company.
By the way, Simon, you mentioned that I played yours before I bought mine. I actually had mine already. But that day we spent around your house playing those grand old ladies of synths, those fantastic synths. When I went to the base station, I was expecting it to sound... I don't know, less impressive. But coming through your huge Jennies, I was blown away. I was like, wow, it sounds great, doesn't it? And it's that's my problem. I mean, do any of you have a piece of equipment or a musical instrument? Let's call them what they are. Do any of you have an instrument that you think you probably don't
underutilize?
Or not even I mean, we use it a lot, but I very rarely use it.
Don't respect.
I don't end up making sounds on it and using them very much in recordings. I normally use it just to copy sounds I've already made on something else. And I do feel pretty bad about it. But I never liked the base station one, really, and that was really a stopgap. It was just so that I could use presets live.
Yeah.
But yeah, what have you got?
So Technomatic also said the AFX machines are overpriced for the same synth.
It's quite a lot of money for an Aphex Twin logo, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Andy K also said that he's recently got the OBX8 and the mug from us. I'm sure the mug's just as good. But no, he said, it's pretty sweet, that OBX8.
Yeah, I mean, wow, you're a lucky guy. What a beautiful thing to have arrive in the mail. Absolutely beautiful. Saw the pictures. How's it going? Is it fulfilling all your creamy fantasies?
Yeah.
Didn't mean that to sound like that.
Dreamy fantasies, yes. Maybe. But yeah, no, he says it's pretty sweet. Just to go back to the new sort of Juno and Jupiter models from Roland, Wagyu mentioned that the reason that he hates them is because they use ABM models on the Zen Core engine rather than the ACB, which does sort of circuit simulation, basically. Analog circuit behavior. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that. Actually, the boutiques, they perhaps do a slightly better job. It's the thing that really puzzles me. Like, they have the capability to just do an exact re-release. Like, I mean, Korg did with the ARP. Like, why don't Roland do that with such an in-demand synth? I think you'll have to take it up with Roland HQ in Japan. Yeah. What are you playing at? Yeah, so we've got lots of questions and suggestions for the CD, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. Sound Inhaler has asked an important question. Will it be CD or download only? It's going to be both a CD and a download. Yeah. The CD is going to be sort of vinyl envelope format So it won't be one of our mega handmade productions, but it will have our artwork.
It'll be
on
professionally done.
It'll be professionally produced. No thumbprints or hairs stuck in the sticky tape. Andy Kay said, "Do a vinyl." We'd love to. We don't know if that's on the cards.
This may be on the cards. We don't know.
Hasn't been discussed.
Talk about
but
this.
We would certainly love to do that one day. And even if not now, like in the future, this would be a good thing to do it for. Probably. Yeah. We got all sorts of requests. So Cress had Bella, also Diamond Feelings live. He really liked the one on Sonic State that we did.
If you like Bella, go and check the Ampled page. It's got the stems for Bella on it. Do a remix. Cool.
Marco Della Vuta loves The Getaway. And also said maybe an instrumental track would be good to have on there. Apropos of Wagyu saying it might be interesting to put an unreleased track on, something that's not on any of the official releases.
Yeah, that's a possibility. There is a remix of
Tin Can
Telephone, which was never released. I still quite like it.
Yeah. It's difficult. I think we release just about everything that we complete. So we have to have a bit of a dig, but we could always record something that we only do live. We do some covers live that have never been recorded. In fact, Stefan Last was saying, please do Thank God It's Not Christmas, either the recording that we did or record it in the studio.
That's a good idea.
That was really fun doing that one.
Yeah. If you didn't see our Christmas show, we ended with the Sparks song, Thank God It's Not Christmas. Great.
Love Sparks.
Maybe we should re-record that without any of the mistakes.
Yeah.
I was wearing a tinsel outfit and it kind of got in the way of my brains.
Well, you had stars all around your glasses as well, like Elton John style.
Didn't know what my fingers was
really
doing.
Cool, I thought.
And not for the first time.
Sound Inhaler would love to hear Clown on it. Andy Kubachewski said Solid State is his favourite track. I love that. That's like, wow, out of all the tracks, it's all nice to hear because it's quite hard to reach a decision on all of these.
One of my favourites. I really like that. It's quite
it's an odd one.
Bit of a sad old song.
Yeah.
We're not ending with a banger today either.
No,
we're ending with a
calm,
sad little song.
Ed Francie said The Borders Fall. Either the recording or the one we did improvised live. With a 3-camera setup.
We could release that, couldn't we?
And then he said Obelisk was my introduction to Boo, and I might put a poll out on this as well, just to hear what was the first Boo song you heard? Because I'm always amazed, like, how do people come across this and what's their way in? Because when I discover an artist I like, I'm just like, oh, that was amazing, and then I get everything. I go mad and stalk them basically.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to hear.
Yeah, so I might ask you guys.
Doing some market research.
Social media.
This is terrible.
It's just interesting.
I know it's interesting.
But also, kind of apropos of this as well. Okay. Prometheus said, "Why has Boo only got 623 subscribers? Mind blown." And Marco Della Vuta said, "Once the algorithm picks it up, it'll move." And this is kind of what we're going to talk about next month, because all the PR stuff, it's not like the MySpace days when you had communities and people talking to each other. It's working out ways to trick computer programs into showing your stuff to more people, which is crazy, a whole other world. So we'll talk a bit about that in the next episode. I'm
sure you all have opinions about this as well, but it seems to have got worse in the last year.
I mean, we were talking to our friend Blanca, who does marketing for a job, and she was saying, there used to be sort of tricks you could do to boost your stuff to the top of feeds, but now the apps basically monitor how much time you spend in them. And the more time you spend in them, the more they push your stuff. So it's like hours have to be put in to have your stuff seen by people, which is,
It's evil.
It's evil.
We're going to talk, basically next month, we're going to share everything we do. And we did actually, we got a look at some professional bands, big bands, PR schedules, and we sort of cut them down and copied them for us. And you'll be amazed at how much work goes into it. It's a job in itself. I mean, a full-time job. Let's not be too depressing.
We got some requests for Lady Megawatt on there as well.
Okay, that will definitely be there because it's a single, I think.
I don't know if we can fit all the singles.
Maybe Finley will do a double for us.
I mean, if you think about Tusk, because Tusk, we did a video for every single.
Can we talk to Finley about having a double? Is that too much?
Maybe.
Can anyone take a double CD?
Double.
Oh, crikey, a double helping.
A boo. A 1-2.
Boff,
boo.
boff. Yeah.
No, we should try. Let's try and be like a haiku, get it as stripped down and as expressive as possible. I like to distill things.
One track.
Yeah, the quintessential boo track.
The 5-hour version of...
Oh, remember when we played Calling at like third speed or something?
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, we had, I don't know why, I think we were just messing around with it in the door, and you played it at a really slow speed, and it was like, damn, this is good.
Yeah, some vaporwave
Good
type
vibe.
stuff. Yeah, it was great. Everything sounds good at 1/16 of the speed.
We've run over again.
We've overrun, but not by too much this time.
It's been really good to see you guys and talk about all this stuff. And thank you for your suggestions. So do keep an eye out on our social media, all the evil stuff that has good people on there trying to get through. And we're going to ask you what tracks you want. What was your first boo track? And be sure. Yeah.
What do you want on the compilation? If
The
you have any strong opinions. And yeah, we've only got 600 odd followers on this. Oh, by the way, did you notice all the attempts at content strikes I fit into that base station?
Oh yeah, there were quite a lot of hints of songs.
We're not monetized, so it doesn't matter. So
yeah,
in theory, I can just play anything I like.
It's for educational purposes. I think you're allowed when it's. Although.
Did anyone learn anything?
Yeah.
What did we learn today?
We learned to buy the base station II.
Okay.
That lesson was certainly
Andrew,
learned.
Fantastic. Also, can we mention about the single?
Yeah.
There's a remix.
Oh yes, of course. Go ahead.
Well, Andrew Kay has done a fantastic remix for the B-side, well, the double A side of the single.
Yeah, double A side. It's fantastic.
If you don't know Andrew Kay, go and check out his Bandcamp page for Discotheque, his most recent
synth pop duo sort of thing.
His recent iteration, and check out this guy's credentials.
Man, a super talented musician who we're lucky to have here in the chat with us.
We're lucky to have you. I'm not just saying this because you're here, Andrew.
But we honestly, the remix is fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. So that'll be next month?
Yeah, so don't miss the next BOOcast, because at 7 p.m, we're going to start the BOOcast, say hello, and then bam, new video right into your eyeballs. So yeah, enjoy that.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be up on the internet afterwards, but if you want to see it first, be here.
There you go. Wow.
And we could talk about, how we made it, how the song came together.
And then
if you've got questions, ask us.
Talk about the grueling PR.
Yeah. What little I know about it.
Anyway, so here we are in a largely empty studio.
Which will be different again when we come back.
Yeah. Who knows? We might just set fire to the whole thing and see what happens. Maybe record it. Who knows? Exciting. I like fire. Anyway.
Speaking of fire.
Oh.
This is our song from Radiation. The title...
I'm a segue king.
The title, Backburning, I should say, is about a thing that happens in Australia every summer, or at least it used to. I don't know if they still do. Where they would burn the bush down in controlled fires. The fire brigade would go in and burn the bush in controlled fires, so that if a wildfire started, it would have nowhere to go because it would already be burned, basically. So this is kind of about that, but a lot more.
I have a different opinion about what this song's about.
Yeah, it's about a lot more. I mean, that's kind of the literal translation, but that's...
But I'm not going to tell you because that will ruin it. So I
don't think I can tell you either.
Anyway,
we told each other what we thought a song
two completely different
meant,
things.
and we have thought, totally different interpretations. I like that. Tell us what you think this song's about.
So thank you for joining us. It was really lovely having you here. You've really made our day. I hope you're all having a lovely time. I hope the temperature's going down wherever you are. I hope you're not in a period of political disquiet or anything, or bills or all that stuff that's going on. I hope everything treats you beautifully well and everything goes exactly how it should, exactly for you, because there's only a few of you and we love
care
you
a lot about you guys.
We really do. You're important.
Big love.
Yeah. So here's the song, and until next month.
See you next month.
Goodbye.
Disintegrate the battle days. These fires start themselves.